Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who understand that there's more to entrepreneurship than finding the latest flash-in-the-pan strategies, who understand that in order to build your empire, you need a solid foundation. I wholeheartedly believe that entrepreneurship is the biggest self-development journey you can be on, and it's my mission to help you make that journey easier. In this show, I bring together the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbutt, the scientist and mindset coach behind this show, and you're listening to the Wired for Success podcast. Hey there, and welcome to the second part of my interview with performance therapist and founder of Achieve Health USA and the Performance Therapy Academy, Ari Gronich. He has helped Olympic and Paralympic athletes break world records, win gold medals, and earn legacy championships. And today he's going to share some more of his wisdom with us. In part one of the interview, we already talked about this in the 26 minutes that changed everything for him, shifting the culture from an emergency mindset to a proactive mindset and short-term benefits versus long-term consequences. So if you missed that part, make sure you go back and listen to it. Today, you'll learn about some of the most powerful techniques for personal development. You will learn about uncovering yourself behind the mask of pain and about controversial methods and rethinking our society. Enjoy part 2 of this interview. So I'm curious, when you think back to a challenging time in your own life, what would you say? Did you have one of those from all the techniques that you've learned? Was there one of it that stood out to you and made a huge impact on your life? Or what did you find most beneficial?
Yeah, so I don't think that life is meant to be comfortable. At least that's not my experience of life. And so I would say that most all moments in my life have been fairly uncomfortable. All growth, all, steps back, etc. And of course, being in the health and experience of life that I've had, I've been raped, molested, beaten, bullied, all kinds of stuff in life. And I think that just makes me a stronger human being. But what techniques? So breath work, and mirror work, and doing breath work and mirror work at the same time really has supported me. Looking into a mirror for hours and trying to find something you like about yourself. Is really, really good. Not trying to convince yourself of anything, trying to find it, uncover it, unmask it, right? Because we all are amazing human beings with masks of pain and life that have beaten us down and in some ways. And so we have to uncover ourselves, not find ourselves, but uncover from the masks of pain that we've created. And so mirror work for me has been amazing. Going through my divorce was hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of screaming and crying in a mirror. And finding the places that I could love about myself. So that has been a very powerful tool. That's a self tool. The controversial side of my tools, like psychedelics, for instance, I like to do psychedelics while doing mental programming, hypnosis, mind programming, listening to solfeggio frequencies and binaural beats and, NLP programming, things like that. So that is one way I've found works really, really effectively. especially if you know how to integrate afterwards, right? Being with a guide is always the best, or a therapist who does that kind of stuff. And then for me, one of the things that I do, and it's not like an advertisable work, but it's body work with psychedelics.
Okay.
And we combine breath work, sometimes tantra, sometimes hypnosis and NLP, again, adding tools based on what the need is and what the trauma was. But the issues are in our tissues. We have muscle cell memory. We get an impact of some kind, whether physical or traumatic, and that lands in our bodies and stays there until it's removed. And so if the issues are in the tissues, somatic traumas require somatic therapies. And talk therapy, unfortunately, we've just, we've had a good 100+ years of it, can tend to exacerbate problems versus supporting the person, because you're renegotiating that trauma over and over and over again without getting it out of your cells. And so if you're not cleansing it from your cells, then it's not going to work. So when we do the body work, you have the benefit of the psychedelics that actually are permanent antidepressants. So they scrub serotonin receptors and allow the serotonin and create new serotonin receptors. So psychedelics actually lifelong create more healthy mental outlook, basically, because serotonin is one of those antidepressants. So if we have serotonin reuptake, that's our antidepressant. Well, why don't we just do a psychedelic, do some of the talk therapy, do some body therapy, do some breath work, all at the same time. Now we can do a massive thing to get people healthy. We do this with drug addicts and it gets them off of the drugs. We do this with rape and sex abuse victims, and they all of a sudden can start feeling like being intimate again. We do this with people who have been beaten, those kinds of things, are bullied, and all of a sudden those places where those words landed in their body starts healing, and all of a sudden they feel better about who they are as a human being. Their skin is a little thicker. They don't take people's words as, gospel anymore about them. So those are just some of the techniques and tools, but there are so many. Breath work in general, there's so many different kinds, right? Meditation. I like going into a shower and letting the water pour over my head, sit down. I kind of just sit in a lotus position and let the water hit me. And when I do that, I get the added benefit of I'm washing away, the negative. And then all of a sudden I start getting ideas that pop, right? New business ideas, new things, new thoughts that move me, move me forward. So that's one of the ways that I like to meditate. Other people like to, light up a candle and look at the candle and use that as their focal point. Some people just staring at a spot in the room is how, they begin the process of learning how to meditate and learning how to focus their mind on something outside of the words that are being used. There is a meditation of focusing on the words that are in your head and just watching them, observing them. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Whenever you have that negative self-talk, thank you for sharing. Now I can make a decision. Thank you for sharing. You don't poo-poo it. It is a thought that you just had. So you don't poo-poo the thought, but you just say, okay, thank you for sharing that. I think I'm going to take this other path, right? And so now all of a sudden you take those pain points and you start turning them into possibility.
I like that. And I really like what you said about having this dual approach of the mind and the body working together, because after all, we're just one person. So we can't really look at our mind and our body as separate. things or separate entities. So it's still all connected, right? So that's also why I like this holistic approach where, so with my clients, we also do the like training your mind, but also training your body and your body's stress response, for example. So we recalibrate the stress response of the body, because otherwise, if you're already overwhelmed and you're completely stressed out and you try the mental approach, the thinking approach, it might get worse because your head just keeps spinning.
Exactly.
So you have to take a different route then, right? Something I like to ask is, do you have a favorite principle or saying you live by?
Yeah, silence is a bully's best friend, so it's time to get loud.
I
Yeah.
like that.
That's one of them. The other one is, we made this shit up. We can do better.
Awesome.
And both of those sayings kind of relate to the same thing, which is that we have allowed the bullies to take over.
Mhm.
And silence is the only thing that allows bullies to take over. Right? So if somebody wants to pour chemicals into our food, the best bet that they have to be able to do that is the silence of those who know.
Mhm.
Right? So if you work for a company that's spraying chemicals all over our food, it's your job to inform the public and to get loud about it, and to say, I don't care if I have an NDA and I'm not supposed to disclose this. You're poisoning my family and my friends and my community, and I'm not going to stand for it. Right?
Mhm.
This has not happened. This kind of way of thinking is not happening right now. And what is happening is, I'm protesting. I'm going to stand in front. I might break some of your stuff. I'm going to stand in front and I'm going to yell at you. Right? But nobody is changing the systems that
Mhm.
are allowing the bullies. So silence is a bully's best friend. So get loud. And then the next one is, we made this shit up and we can make it up different. So we're so married to the idea that, let's look at politics, for instance. Democrat, Republican, socialist, communist are all labels of systems that we created. Do you think possibly that we can evolve another system that works better than all the systems that have happened in the past?
Mhm.
Yes, we absolutely can create a new system that works better than the systems that work in the past. But we're so married to the thing that it wasn't even us who created it. It was people in our past that created it. But we're so married to this concept of the things like money, like the systems and the labels of left and right and good and bad, and that we have forgotten that it's all a figment of our imagination. We made this shit up and we can do differently. We can do it better. So let's stop being so attached to this crazy thing that we've created and create something new. It'll give us something to do. It'll give us something to look forward to. It'll make our life have more purpose and more meaning, which makes us happier in general in life. So, stop thinking and complaining and worrying about the label of something and start doing something that makes the world a better place. Right?
Yeah. Let's create a new tomorrow.
Let's create a new tomorrow. Let's activate our vision for a better world.
It's
And let's
awesome.
do it now. Create a new tomorrow today. It can happen. It can happen inside of you here, inside of you here. That's the first place.
Mhm.
The second place is your kids and your family. Third place is your community. Next place is your country, right? We can
Mhm.
do this, but we have to collaborate, work with others who are also passionate about the things that we're passionate about, but may have different skill sets. We can ask for help. We can talk to people and say, hey, you run a nonprofit for child trafficking and I run a nonprofit for child trafficking. Why don't we work together and create better systems together? Because all our purposes is not to have the credit and not to make the money. It's to get the job done, get the thing done. Wouldn't it be awesome if we cut child trafficking by 30% this year because we had the 20 or 30 or 50 or 100 child trafficking companies, all work together?
Yeah.
And collaborate with law enforcement, right?
Yeah.
So let's do this and do it together and create something better. Have the discussion, yes, but have solutionary discussions versus problem discussions. Let's stop talking about the roads that need to be fixed and start talking about actually doing that and fixing it with the newer technology that allows roads to stop for flooding and, like maybe light up. And I mean, there's all kinds of new technology we can start implementing today that we just aren't doing at all. Now, I'll give you a quick example. There's a community in my area that just got built, a city. They had the opportunity, because they're building a new city kind of thing, to build it with, say, hemp instead of concrete, hempcrete, or sustainable products, make it smart, do the solar, they could have created that city to be a future city. Instead, they created the city to be like the 50s suburbs. Okay. Why? What's the point of redoing the same stuff that we know is not working anymore?
Because it's familiar.
Because it's familiar. So we made this shit up. We can do better. Let's start doing better.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm all for collaboration. I always say collaboration over competition. This will get us so much further, so much quicker.
Yeah, the only thing you should ever compete with is the previous version of yourself.
Yeah.
If you're constantly competing with others, you're going to be a measuring stick that is going to be disappointed. If you're competing with the previous version of yourself, now you can actually create something that's worthwhile in your own self. Because then when you look at yourself in that mirror, you can be proud of who you are. And even if it's a minuscule step up and another minuscule step and another minuscule step, progress is progress. You can be proud of progress. But if you're measuring yourself by other people's standards and other people's behaviors and other people's success, you'll always be a failure.
So true. So last but not least, my last question for today is, where can our listeners find you if they want to connect with you online?
Yeah, so you could go to createanewtomorrow.com or check out the podcast in any one of these places. Woo, woo. So weird, it's all backwards. AchieveHealthUSA.com. I'm Ari Gronich at pretty much any social media.com. So LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, etc. And yeah, I mean, I love supporting companies and supporting people and speaking and sharing my perspective, because I don't hear my perspective very often. And the people that I love talking to are the ones that are either new or haven't quite yet gotten there. And I could say one or two things that go, oh yeah, I could see that. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. That's my favorite thing.
Fantastic. So thank you so much for this wonderful interview, Ari, and for taking the time to share your insights and your wisdom with us today. I really appreciate it.
As my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. So take care and talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please take a sec to rate and review my show. It would mean the world to me because you'd help me reach more entrepreneurs like yourself who would love this show. If you'd like to learn more about creating a widely successful business without sacrificing your health, relationships, or sanity, make sure to stick around and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And why don't you help me spread the word and share this show with your friends? I'd really appreciate it, and I'm sure your friends will too. Want to continue this conversation, build real relationships, and join a community of like-minded entrepreneurs? Come join my free Facebook community for visionary entrepreneurs. I would love to see you there. In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, grab my free brain priming audio file for entrepreneurs and start priming your brain for success in less than 5 minutes each morning. Curious? You can learn more about how this works and download the audio file at www.wiredforsuccess.solutions. Until next time, bye!